and dudettes. How are you guys? This is Chazzy and welcome back to Tell a Chazzy, the show where I talk about, well, shows. Little segment on YouTube where I review the TV series that I've been watching lately, and today I have a special participation by the wind. You know, it's really windy outside. You know, you guys might actually even be able to hear it at some point. It was howling. You know, it's very annoying actually. There was a freakish storm, you know, the other day, and it was really hard to get through. But anyway, so today I'm going to be talking about something that many consider to be a kids show, you know, even though it is actually geared towards kids, but I still like it a lot. It is Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous.
You are the first kids in the entire world to ever experience the awesomeness that is Camp Cretaceous.
I don't do well on windy roads.
Now, the thing with this is that it's kind of like a tie-in to the Jurassic World franchise, the series. You know, it actually happens, it's set before, during, and after the events of the first Jurassic World movie, you know, and as far as I know, it's canon, you know, it's something that is part of the lore, you know, it really did happen, you know, in the background during the movie, at least that's what it's been established to be, and it's about a group of 5 teenagers who get a chance to go to Jurassic World, you know, to visit and explore. They're all from different walks of life, you know, some from poorer, more impoverished families, others are a little bit more rich, you know, wealthy, and one is an undercover agent or something. Anyway, so 5 different teens who get together and they get to know each other, they become friends, and of course, because this has to do with Jurassic World and it is tied into the first movie, everything goes wrong at some point, you know. There are disaster strikes and the dinosaurs get out. If you guys saw the first Jurassic World movie, you know what I'm talking about. So the thing with this is that I think it's a very nice premise because it shows it's a very family-friendly thing. It's kid-friendly, but there are a few scenes of, for example, the Indominus Rex eating someone. There are a few tense scenes here and there, but it's good for adults too, especially me. The reason that I watched it is because I love Jurassic World, Jurassic Park, all that stuff. So even though I'm aware that it's something that is geared towards a younger audience, I still wanted to watch it anyway. Don't judge me, okay? You know, so anyway, here's the thing, guys. I recently watched the second season. There was a very big gap between the first and the second seasons. So just to give myself a refresher, I have a little cheat sheet here, okay? The 5 main characters are Darius Bowman. He's a camper who's a dinosaur fanatic, and he's the leader of the group at one point. Then we have Ben Pincus, who's a very sensitive and shy camper who takes care of a baby ankylosaurus who he names Bumpy. Then we have Yaz, you know, Yasmina Faldula, who's the most athletically assured. She's an athlete, you know, she's a track star, she's very active, you know, so she's one of, at some point she sprains her ankle and can't really do much, but she's a very determined girl. Then we have Brooklyn, who's a famous travel vlogger and a camper, you know, at Camp Cretaceous, so she's there to document her stuff, her adventures, you know, to all of her followers and whatnot. Then we have Kenji Khan, who's like a self-appointed VIP camper. He's kind of like the self-proclaimed alpha male. He's very rich, he has a rich dad, you know, so he's kind of laid back and lazy. He's a kind of a coward, you know, even though at some point he does get braver. But yeah, there's him. And then we have Sammy Gutierrez, who's a camper full of enthusiasm for the experience of being there. But then we later find out that she's kind of like a double agent of sorts. You know, she's actually working for a company, or out of a company. She eventually sabotages the other girl's phone, you know, something, Brooklyn's phone. But anyway, so on to the actual series itself. Now, here's the thing, guys. I think that the character that we can most identify with is Darius, because he comes from a poor family, you know, and his dad unfortunately passed away before the events of the series, and it was always, he and his dad really liked dinosaurs. They bonded over that. So when Darius finally got the chance to go to Jurassic World, it was kind of like fulfilling his dad's dream for him, you know. So I thought it was really nice. It was really cute, you know, and a very precious moment. But when they get to the island, you know, I mean, at first everything is cool. It's nice to see the dynamics and them getting to know each other, because these are some very different kids, you know. They have barely anything in common, so they start to form a very strong relationship and friendship as the series goes on, you know. But of course, you know, the real test of friendship is when all of the dinos break out.
Asset out of containment. Repeat, asset out of containment.
We've got a real emergency here.
Where is everybody? There's usually someone around.
Now, despite being a series that's geared mainly towards kids, there is a very strong character dynamic here. You know, the character development is really, it's just really, I mean, it's not the kind of thing you would normally expect from a kids show unless you're an adult watching it, you know, because you're going to get a really good sense of how things are going on. But I honestly think that it was very well done. I think it was something that was really well structured, and in my honest opinion, I think that it's something that can be watched. Like, if you're a parent and you want to watch it with your kids, it's even better. I watched it as an adult by myself and I still still enjoyed it a lot. Each episode is about 20 minutes or so. It's not really going to be that long. It's not going to kill you or anything. But I think that in general, it represents something that, you know, it represents a good amount of nostalgia to me, you know, my childhood liking dinosaurs. So I identified a lot with Darius because of this, you know, because if I was a kid and I got a chance to go to Jurassic Park or Jurassic World, if it was actually a real thing, I would be going crazy. I'd be over the moon, man, you know. And I think that seeing the characters interact with each other, especially when disaster strikes, really shows the character dynamics in full, you know. Darius eventually steps up and he's the bravest one. He does become the leader of the group. He's the most selfless one, you know. At one point he tries to save Ben. In the first season we see Ben falling off of the monorail as it's you know, speeding away, and then some pteranodons follow him, so it is implied that he dies, you know. But then in the second season we see that he comes back in a very awesome moment, because now he's all tough and stuff, you know. He's really rough around the edges, and he's a survivor. And then Bumpy, he adopts an ankylosaurus, a very cute little baby ankylosaurus, you know, who eventually comes back as an adult too, and they form a really good tag team. So it's very nice. There are a few carnivores that serve as antagonists, like Toro the Carnotaurus, you know. We do see the Indominus Rex in the first season, but then eventually she does get killed by the Mosasaurus, so we don't see her anymore from the second season onward. And then it's really cool because things start to overlap. Like in the second season, they actually go to the place where the battle took place at the end of Jurassic World, and we see everything demolished and destroyed, you know. And then we see a little bit of the T-Rex, you know, so it starts to overlap with Jurassic World. We see the Rex coming out of her pen to get trees and stuff to make her nest, you know, imply that she's gonna have lay some eggs or something. So it's really cool to see that, you know. It is a kids series, but it is very nice to see something connected to the main movies, you know, the main lore of the series. Same thing with Star Wars. If you watch the Clone Wars animated series, you know, even though it's geared towards a younger audience, it's still good for you to get some background, you know, around what's been going on in the main series, you know. At least in my opinion, that's kind of how it works. So I enjoyed Camp Cretaceous, you know. I think it was really nice, especially in the second season when we got some new antagonists.
Now we just have to find a place to hole up until help arrives.
Now here's the thing, we got a group of hunters who come in, and at first I kind of saw this coming from a mile away because I've seen a lot of movies and TV shows. We have a group of people, and one of them is a very gruff looking hunter who's very silent. He looks really tough and intimidating, and the other two is a couple, you know, who loves dinosaurs, and they're taking photos and stuff. You know, they really sell the whole safari expedition thing. But of course I didn't buy it. I knew that there was something wrong. I knew that the guy who was all rough and military looking was actually the good guy, and the other two were actually the villains. And it was proven, you know, they were actually poachers who came to the island to try to kill dinosaurs and mount their heads on their walls, you know, so very indecent. And of course the hunter guy who was actually just trying to help, he does sacrifice himself, you know, to save the kids. At one point he tries to fight off a group of baryonyxes, and yeah, it's tough, you know. And it's one of those things where, like, if you're a kid watching, you may not really get it, but if you're an adult, you're like, yeah, that guy was totally ripped apart by the baryonyxes. And the other couple also dies as well. It's not shown, but it is implied that the guy, after he's hanging from a tree and left behind by his wife, he's actually killed by a T-Rex, you know. And then she has the most satisfying death. At the very end, she's you know, going away on her boat, leaving the kids behind, but the remaining baryonyxes actually climb onto the boat and they break the glass and eat her, you know. It's very tense. It's kind of like a Scar dying in The Lion King. You don't really see it, but it leaves an itch, you know, right under your skin. But anyway, so the kids are trying really hard to be they're trying to have patience and survive until they can be rescued. They even, oh god, that was a strong gust of wind. They even are rescued at some point, you know, so it's really cool. Sorry, they are almost rescued. They build a shelter to wait out the days, and they make it. They have a little shower because their original camp, which is in the trees, is completely destroyed by the Indominus, so they have to make a new one. And it does make sense, you know, you're on Dino Island, so you need to have something in the trees, you know, even though Dr. Ian Malcolm once said that depending on how high your tree shelter is, it actually puts you at a very convenient biting height. So yeah, there's that too, you know. You win some and you lose some, am I right? So yeah, it would be nice if we had some of the more famous characters making a cameo, like Dr. Grant or Ian Malcolm or something, you know. So yeah, Dr. Alan Grant, Dr. Ian Malcolm, you know, everyone is a freaking doctor, man. Oh god, so many PhDs. But yeah, it'd be nice to have some of that too. Now, the general themes of this series, you know, they can go right over your head if you're a kid, but if you're an adult and you watch them, it's going to be very easy to grasp, you know. It's a very easy watch. It's really nice. It's not as dynamic as the actual movies themselves that are much more in depth and whatnot, but I still think it's enjoyable, guys. I think it's really enjoyable. You get to see some dinosaurs, you know, some new species too. You get to see stuff that you don't really see in the movies, you know, and there's a lot of conflict. There are a few moral decisions the characters have to make, you know, and in general, they all love animals, but they are scared of the creatures. We get to see different areas that we didn't see in the movies, like an underground tunnel of sorts. We actually see that in Fallen Kingdom, but not to this degree. And there are a few unraveling conspiracies here and there that really add to the lore of the series, you know. So there's definitely going to be a season 3 because the second season ended on kind of a cliffhanger. So there's definitely going to be a third one probably later this year or next year, you know. And it would be nice. I'm not as excited to watch it as, you know, Cobra Kai, for example, but I'm anxious to see how this is going to end, and I don't know if it's going to end in the 3rd or 4th season, but it's nice to have something to watch, you know, an ongoing thing. And I'm recording this video at the time that the 2nd season is out, so eventually maybe later I'll come back and do an entire series review when it's over, but for now I just wanted to let you guys know that I am I did watch it and I enjoyed it, and I recommend it for you guys too, especially if you consider yourself a fan of the Jurassic World movies. You know, it's a very nice tie-in to the franchise. But I think that's it, guys. I think that's all I can say about it. You know, a very nice series. I definitely recommend it, so go ahead and watch it. It's on Netflix right now, so, you know, don't wait. Don't procrastinate. Don't put it off. Go watch it. You know, if you have a kid, a son or a daughter who likes dinosaurs, even if they don't like dinosaurs, you can watch it with them. It's very enjoyable. But that's it, all right? This is Chazzy signing out for now, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video.
This is what camp's about. Who's with me?